as I'm sure Sebastian knows. Tonight we have two poets and a photojournalist. The photojournalist Sebastian Meyer will be launching his book about his work in Kurdistan. Very excited to have him here to kind of open up our roster. We don't usually do this kind of work, so really thrilling to get that here. New York Writers Workshop is just about to turn 20. We've been around since 2000. So we're going to celebrate big time in 2020, stay up to like 10:30 maybe. Welcome to all our friends around the world on the Facebook live stream. Hello Philippines, Australia, and
around,
yeah, whatever. I wanted to say a couple of things about New York Writers Workshop. We're a not-for-profit based in New York City. We do workshops here in Manhattan and elsewhere. We have online classes that I wish everybody would take a look at. You can take a look at what we have going on our website, newyorkwritersworkshop.com. We're bringing a group of writers to Sardinia in January 2020. That's going to be our first international conference. My wife, Deedle, handles so much of the managerial work. She's sitting right there, and if you're interested in any more information about what we do, please come up and talk to us at the break. We'll have the two poets.
Our poetry class in Goddard.
And see, this is why, among other things, she's here. The poetry class at Goddard. We have a poetry class beginning at Goddard Riverside Community Center, I think next week. Is that correct?
No, it's December 7th, Sarah Stern.
December 7th, Sarah Stern at the Goddard Riverside Center. We also do courses at the JCC of Manhattan, 76 and Amsterdam. So without further ado, we have this wonderful space at no charge. There is a 2-drink minimum, so please drink up, drink irresponsibly, and tip crazily. We have two wonderful people with us tonight. Nikki is going to be working the floor, and this is her return, the great return of Nikki. It's amazing to see her. And Lori also behind the bar, so please remember that. Our first poet tonight is Mike Jerkovich from the New Paltz area. I'm not sure if that's where you're originally from.
Fair enough.
But Mike is also bringing us something that we don't usually have, and he's unusual for me as a reader. I don't usually read Republican poets, but as I thought I would get a glass thrown at me. Mike runs a wonderful program up at in the New Paltz area called CAPS, I think, right? A reading series, fantastic. If you're ever in a car and driving upstate, it would be wonderful to stop into town and take a look at what Mike does. That's why I know when he comes up here, he's going to be a real professional. He's a Neil Young scholar. We tried to out Neil Young each other in our emails together. He wins. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Jerkovich.
Thanks, Tim. Neil Young. All right, Tim mentioned that they're going to be 20 years old. CAPS is 20 years old. Calling All Poets. This is our new anthology. It's available starting next week. This is the proof if anyone wants to check it out. Tim's in it. A couple other New York poets, Matt Hubert that you might know. Linda Lerner is in here. Ron Colm is in here. George Wallace is in here. There's a whole slew of New York, Manhattan folks in here, plus some really great people from up far away. This is our 20th anniversary anthology. Available on our website, Amazon, at readings, God knows. All right, so let's get the political nonsense out of the way. Because even though he said I was one of those Republican poets, wait a minute, this fell down. Let's say he said I was one of those Republican poets. He knows better than that. So, hopefully that'll work.
Are you a libertarian?
This is
No, I'm a goddamn
Is he trying to record it?
I'm a socialist.
You want me to just hold it?
I'm
Or?
a human.
Thank fucking God.
All right.
You need to just
I came
record
upon a
like this?
man bruising himself with stones.
You don't want me to just hold
The
it?
Orange King decrees,
Okay.
and he cries. The gravel cutting his skin. The blood food at the base
I'll get it.
of the foot of the wall. It's meant to keep us in, not them out, I told him, or I tried to tell him about his chanting. But his children soon joined in. And then his wife. And then his neighbors. And then his church. And then his union hall. As the king's men take their claim, we assemble at Potter's Field in colorful rags. But an army sharing selfies soon defeats itself. I have tried real hard to keep politics out of this, but I just cannot. We will either advance each day or we don't. And some of us will fall. And some of us will turn. And some of us will make Martin's mountaintop. I'm working on a manuscript that's also going to be a CD. It's called American Mental. And what it is a snapshot of America today. And this is one of the pieces, and it's called Syringe Drop. The new initiative for downtown Shitlorn is to install syringe drops in every public restroom. Keeps the litter off the streets, the mayor magistrates, and you find yourself thinking that maybe hell is the day after you snap awake back in the box you chose to lie in. The door's locked. The mud is hardened. A small elm has taken root. They've planned a parking lot. A trombone from the nursing home plays one of your old favorite songs from way back when. And you find yourself thinking, we all know that America is gun crazy. And it's just called 2 wives ago. It's a beautiful thing. Stockpiled, vacuum sealed, purchased a little each payday for the last 15 years and 2 wives ago. Neither could see my reasoning, so I gave up trying. You can only save yourself in the end. Everyone else drains your resources. Dated, rotated, each 50-millimeter can checked monthly for corrosion. In this room, mostly cornmeal and 50-pound bags of sugar. A tunnel to the highway, shelved floor to ceiling with with cans with corn and tuna. And in this room alone, my water. One of the things that started the idea of American Mental was that I was waiting to get, waiting for an oil change. And an old man was there waiting also to get his car fixed. And the stories that the old man was telling me at 9 o'clock in the morning were just effing unbelievable. And it pretty much started the whole concept of Shitlorn, which is a town in anywhere. And this is called Marty's 81. Marty's 81 has a parched post-pneumonia cough and the shits from diverticulitis. A blood clot in his leg he can't afford the Bixapan for because you can't survive on a pension and Social Security. Lives with his daughter in Shitlorn town in the Hudson Valley that everyone struggles to avoid unless you're driving through in a funeral procession because his third wife, Peg, a beautiful girl, a very, very smart girl, took to the booze in the farmhouse we'd rehab somewhere in Shitlorn, Pennsylvania. 29 years. He counts. 29 years. Played Carnegie Hall as a child and sang doo-wop with the Mafia Boys back in Bensonhurst. Bought his first vet in '59, a turquoise baby that stole your breath while Sal the Snake stole your wallet. Shows me pictures on his cell phone, his whole life in his hands, in the hands of unknown strangers. The old stone house he restored with Joan, his second wife, who had 5 kids and took on my 3. Plays piano for St. Margaret's down the road in Shitmorn at the intersection where the light don't work. The '62 Corvette, the '65. People and things were worth something then, he says. The cold phlegm seizing his pipes. Shows me his cousin Maury's place up in Saratoga, who raises horses and runs a marina on Manhasset Bay. Marty was always the smart one in the family, he swears, scraping his lungs. More pictures of his grandkids and horses, cars and plate pianos. His fiction shop in Shitlorn where he still fixes vintage stereo equipment. I take in a piece here and a Pioneer there, he says, for pocket money, you know. I tell him about my Macintosh with the fried left channel. Here's my email. Send me some pictures. Maybe I can help you, he says. Served in the service, but that don't mean a fucking thing. His son's got his Hunter Green '74 vet until he can get a place of his own. Pictures of his daughter's daughter who just turned 4. I'm gonna start her on scales when this cough's all gone. Any day now, he says. No matter where you go through, I mean, whether it's 2nd Avenue, whether it's, I don't know, some town, it's Main Street in Hudson Valley, or New Jersey, or freaking Pennsylvania, it's Walmart, it's Rite Aid, it's CVS, it's fucking Walgreens, it's Lotto, it's a booze store, it's, and this is called Wonderland Parade. Expect delays on Main Street this Saturday as the Winter Wonderland Parade winds past the dollar store and the Dunkin' Donuts, the laundromat and the vacant shops, past the OTB and the liquor store, the Payday Loans and Dell's Garage, the diners serving hot cocoa, the libraries closed until further notice, the war memorial's overgrown but we're hoping for snow that day. You don't want to miss St. Gemma's Choir outside the Quiet Meadow Nursing Home, past the Pregnancy Center and Goodwill, Walmart's, Rite Aid, the Candy Canes and Santa. Bing's will be hosting holiday songs with well drinks 2 for $1, 1 through 4. The parade runs past the halfway house and food pantry where the soup is thin till the meds kick in. Then everyone swings in the holiday mood to the master's lawn where the lights shine bright and a big, yellow, inflatable Kevin waves at us all. Just throw a glass or something. It's called Because Maybe. Live long enough and the plot becomes apparent. This is the only way it could turn out. The fire-roasted eggplant flatbread is running late. The edible hasn't kicked in time for the movie. The wine lacks a certain weight and the folks at the next table are ready to strangle each other. Live long enough and life costs you an axle. Love hits the wall more often than not, and the rubbernecking results in muscle sprain and hyphenated discs. The downward arc of history crashes on your lawn. Corporate names become your own. Surly asides become convention. Live long enough and people implore you to pray for them. Pray they be rid their cancer and conceit.
And you do, because maybe they know something you don't. That short of the nuclear option, what the hell else is there? Strafe downtown Manhattan, torch town hall, increase the Valium and Xanax. Live long enough and the choice becomes abuse or entertainment. Your dynamic points of interest dull. The sand becomes listless. Tariff and sanctions scintillate. You come to terms. Live long enough and you tire of doing this, that, every little fucking thing, but maybe that's how this shitstorm passes. In service to someone in need, to someone mistaken as foreign, to someone you once saw as a stranger, a careening penitent inclined to believe. All right, let's read something a little bit lighter. But this is about climate change. But this is called Passing Shower. I come from a long line of weathermen who swore Noah's storm was a passing shower. As the last son before 9 daughters, all of whom shattered the glass ceiling by founding girlweather.com, I kept the website current. Crazy weather was normal now and getting worse. Mary swore the extinction winter was tomorrow. Beth always saw rain. Sad, sad girl that she was. Tina liked the lonely cool of autumn. Molly, her twin, loved a people. Kate, married, taught convolutions, had 4 kids, and didn't give a goddamn how the wind blew. Amber and Anita, the second twins, loved the New York heat. Salacious climbs were Annie's bag. I swear by sweat, she'd say. Each one was crazier than a shithouse rat. All except Maureen, who kept it real. There's a storm a-coming, she fondly said. Let's do these 3. This one's not part of the American Mental, but I just love doing it. And I'm sure we've all experienced it, and it's called Half Shitty Days. So you see, you've got your good days and your bad days, and then you've got your half shitty days, which I believe most of us will testify to having more often than not. Half shitty days really have no point of start or departure. Maybe you wake up feeling grand, but soon burn the toaster, step in cat pee. Maybe a car hits a skunk just outside your house. Perhaps you drop the soap in the shower and whack your head on the towel bar. Maybe the ride to work somehow smooths things out, but the job sucks. Then what? 8 hours of suck? Sounds like a really good porno, but really, who's gonna last that long? All right. So lunch breaks the monotony and the jazz blows blue on NPR, but soon you drop a hammer on your foot or the fly in the ointment drowns in your coffee, and it's a half shitty day again. Hey, come back. Hey. Wow. That wasn't meant to happen. And it's a half shitty day again. And just like that, you're caught in the traffic home. No one uses their signal, so you almost rear end the guy in front of them. That anxiety wears off when, from out of nowhere, comes a kid and his daddy's after you cutting you off, flipping the finger as he heads off to produce another illegitimate that you will know will someday pick your pocket somewhere down the line. But up ahead is home, and all is well. Maybe your better half's had a whole bad day, and when compared to your half shitty one, well, who knows? Maybe they've had a good day, and that sunshine will make your half shitty day really a quarter of a shitty day. Who knows? Who knows when half shitty days become one or the other, good or bad? Who knows? Maybe that's the chore of being. If you don't mind, I'm just going to close with these two. I know a couple folks here are up from Hudson Valley, and it's a beautiful old theater called the Rosendale Theater up in Rosendale, New York. And I recently did a feature story on the whole history of the place. And a friend of mine said, dude, you wrote a history on the whole place, but you didn't do the candy machine. And the candy machine has been there since 1949. And this is called Candy Machine. It's for my friend Eric. They've come and gone, grown and died. These first children of the last war, their eyes bright with cinema dreams, stopping with daddy's first nickel for a packet of gum, or walking right by to their seats, ignoring my mirrored veneer. Never knowing I was a direct descendant of first century Egypt, and a mid-level guy named Hero of Alexandria, whose machine swapped your bronze coin for a spritz of water holy. Now, money in and money out may be the whole basis of our belief system, but it wasn't recognized until London, 1883, when Percival Everett, without direct lineage to Hero the Don, but wise to the wants of the people, pitched postcards and paper for a cartwheel penny. But not me. No. I was built to dispense sweetness and salt between cowboys and beautiful women in silk. I became the place they all met, giggled, gossiped, and treated their girls to chocolate almonds. Sure, some kicked me and shook me and cursed at me. But over the years, you let go and move on. You have to. Or else the whole world becomes a dark, dark place that even the magic screen cannot illuminate. I'm going to close with this one. This is part of American Mental, and it's called The Irreversible Future. I think a lot of us in the room are old enough to remember the 1964 World's Fair, and this is what this is. We oohed and awed at the 64 World's Fair and the droids that would take away our work and give us more time with the kids, more time to smoke, to read and watch, to drink and make love and make love and make love some more. Raw metallic arms did the work of 50 men without unions and overtime. Hulking, huge brains sprayed pretty light and reasoned all our equations. The atom had no blowback. The wonderful world of chemistry was just one pill away. We marveled at modems and picture phones. Big oil gave us dinosaurs. The happy plastic family heartened us all. Different trips, same monkey. Disney ruled the air. Weather stations under the Arctic ice would correct the world's climate. The cities of the future had no ghetto that we could see. They were less sad and frantic than those to come. No one was homeless, no one alone. Jetpacks. Whoa. Space stations. The deserts became farms where dark robots picked the fruit. The Mick was there, I saw him. amid the supercars, the Kennedys without Jack, for the darkness did just dawn. We oohed and ahed, zipping along on the monorail, carrying our radiated nickels and dimes. Or were they pennies? I forgot all about the poor. We explored the mysteries of a woman's mind. Wisconsin cheese! 3D led to 4G, then 5. They say we don't need 6. We oohed and ahed and became. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. 8 hours of suck is, if you don't take it, I'm using it for a title now.
Go for it, man.
8 hours of suck. Our next poet is Claudia Soraya. She's read with us before. I would say that she's a poet of motherhood and immigration and translation and so many wonderful things.
You want to stay here?
Just give you a little bit of an idea of all her accomplishments. Her poems and translations have been published in Field, New Letters, Prairie Schooner, the Malahat Review, Oxford Poetry, Asymptote, Gravel, and elsewhere. And she's the author of 5 poetry collections, most recently her collaboration with Maria Hara, who can't be here tonight, sadly. But so many others that she'll be reading from on her own. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Claudia Soraya.
Thanks so much, Tim. Thanks everyone for being here tonight. Thank you. Lovely, thanks. So it's wonderful to be back at the KGB Bar Red Room, and being born and raised in Romania, the irony is now lost. So I'm going to start with some poems, newer poems. And this is one about the Cold War. Cold. It was so cold, the war had frozen over. I could see my breath in the classroom, fluffy like cotton yarn, and my teachers, my high school colleagues. At home, I placed my hands over the reading lamp to turn them from blue to red. Mom bought fabrics, lining, batting, and snaps, and made my brother and me ski costumes to wear to school. We slept with wool hats, wool socks, wool mittens, and wool sweaters so thick they were bullet and moth-proof. My breath turned to dew on the wall, then froze into intricate flowers and vines. It was so cold, the actors on the stage had visible breaths, and the theater audience breathed in Shakespeare verse and exhaled serious whisks. The bride and groom kissed non-stop to keep warm, and the wedding guests spoke white words before the food arrived. It was so cold the rocks cracked open. The doctors breathed white gauze as if ghosts were present in the operating rooms before opening the patients' steaming bellies. It was so cold my circus lady neighbor brought home the pythons so they wouldn't freeze and kept them in the bathtub. She wore them to work, a tight suit under the mink fur. For decades it was cold, cold. Each one of us exhaled a small cloud, proof we were alive. This is a poem called We Ate the Ugly Ones. The good ones we picked and handled like eggs, sorted them by size and color, and placed them in rows in wooden crates. The Aztecs called them tomato, for fat water with navel. The Italians, pomodoro, apple of gold. And the scientists called them by their Latin name, Solanum lycopersicum, wolf peach of the sun. My grandmother called the tomatoes platatin. If they were good looking, they were worth more money. Her knotty hands, stained green from their sap, used a soft rag to shine each little jam like wiping a child's face. then nestled it carefully in its tutu of wax paper. We ate the ugly ones, the scratched, the blemished, cracked, spotted, the overripe, the warted ones, tasty, fat from water and summer sun. The days were long, the lines to weigh the small crates longer, the money short. The yellow-green tomatoes went to export and ripened on the way. I wonder if anyone from the West knew when they picked them up from the supermarket shelf, weighing in hand the round red hearts. Did anyone know whose hearts they were, where they came from behind the iron curtain? I wonder if any of the ripe ones from the internal market would land on the dictator's plate. And if it did it bleed a little? Sweet juice under the knife. I'm Susie and the village. In the dead of winter, there wasn't much to do and no TV to watch, so I took up crocheting. I crocheted replicas of all the people in the village, of Aunt Susie, Old Man George, my neighbor Lulu, my cousin Elena reading a crochet book, the priest, the policeman, Mama Marina, the ghost from the cemetery, everyone. I crocheted their eyeglasses, headscarves, clothes, their cheeks and lips, their hair. I crocheted Aunt Susie's dog from brown fuzzy yarn and her flock of geese from feathery white and gray threads. And when Aunt Susie died, I crocheted her organs from bright red and brown silk and her skeleton complete with ivory teeth, floppy ribs, and soft phalanges. I crocheted her brain, ruffled and creased with all her cloudy yarn thoughts and convoluted synapses. I assembled her body on the dining room table, each organ nestled in a crinkly silk sack. The heart was the last to go in, knotted and intricate, with all the blood threads laced through the body. People said I had too much time on my hands, but what do they know? I told them fate crochets us all the time with colorful threads. She links the day with the night, mother with child, spring with summer, with fall, with winter, and life with death. One loop, slip, stitch, chain, turn, join two switches, repeat. She drives her hook through my brother and me, and we both hang by a thread, then by another. Loop, stitch, chain, repeat. Fate has too much time on her hands. The Bone Music Maker. The Bone Music Maker is a bootlegger of jazz and rock and roll. His name is Sasha, and he lives on Resurrection Street. Each week he looks for x-rays in the hospital dumpsters and takes them home to turn them into records. The hospitals are full of sick people. The dumpsters overflow with x-rays, and band music is nowhere to be found. Sasha presses the music into the x-rays with a machine and cuts the disc with scissors. He burns a hole in the center with his cigarette and holds up the result to light. Elvis's Heartbreak Hotel on the ribs, Johnny Cash, I Walk the Line on metatarsals and phalanges, Miles Davis on pneumonia, Chuck Berry on the broken hip, Dizzy Gillespie on Uncle Misha's brain tumor, ready for the turntable for just 1 ruble. They sound like voices through torrential rain, ghosts singing through static, like music in fog, light years away, piano and trumpets played by the bees. Rongenizdat, it's criminal and everyone knows it, but students donate blood to get the money to buy bone music. Someone must have ratted on Sasha. One day, the Komsomol Music Patrol raided the apartment and confiscated everything, the piles of x-ray, the records still unsold, even the manicure scissors and the cigarettes he smoked and used to burn the record holes. Some say Sasha hid in the empty coffin waiting for Uncle Misha in the dining room. Others say he went to prison and another bone music maker took his place. In any case, on Resurrection Street, on skulls, vertebrae, and femurs, the band bone music lives on, and the bones shake, rattle, and roll.
Wow.
This exists. You can look it up. It's called Rongenizdat. There are articles written about this band music and the way they used to copy it on X-ray discs. And this is an old joke. It's called Khrushchev. You remember Khrushchev, right? Well, by the way, this year, we should just say that, this year celebrates 30 years since the fall of the Iron Curtain, so hooray for that. Today's Berlin Wall, Khrushchev. Khrushchev visited a pig farm. The local reporter photographed the event. At the office, the caption of the photo is the subject of a heated debate. Comrade Khrushchev among the pigs? Comrade Khrushchev and the pigs? Pigs around Comrade Khrushchev? Up against the deadline, the editor-in-chief finally decides. Third from the left, Comrade Khrushchev. You can always replace Khrushchev with the politician of your choice, my friend says. Alright, so this is a poem inspired by when I go to Romania, we always have these discussions about politics, right? I mean, everyone does. The moon, my brother and I. The moon, my brother and I sit outside at the wooden table covered with a white cloth and drink wine and moonshine from shiny tumblers. And we figure out the Americans, the Russians, the Romanians, the EU, and the Chinese. We're well versed in this from decades behind the Iron Curtain. We know all about special interest corporations, the military complex, stolen revolutions, the FSB, the Mossad, the CIA, the nationalists, and the globalists. Pour me some more freedom, baby brother. Alcohol makes us understand more. In its glaze we see clearer for a few brief moments and agree. We're fucked. And we sleep well tonight, happy at least we get it. Until morning, when everything is different. And this is a poem about that goes back to December 1989 when December 26, my father took me to the train station to go back. It was a Romanian revolution in Bucharest, and this is a poem inspired by that event. The language of the crows. Once I walked through a park where all the trees were laden with crows, hundreds of them hanging like black coconuts. It was December. My father was taking me to the train station to go to Bucharest, where the revolution was raging. I could hear the crows click and cackle in the treetops, calling my name. Did they know my trip would be a futile endeavor? Did they know about the dead in every city? Did they gather at funerals of their own, chatting like old village women who know everything? Did the Council of Crows protect the secrets they witnessed? The location of the buried bodies and stolen treasures stowed away? And after 30 years, do they have any prophecy for this century? Do they know where God or justice are? And are they trying to tell me something when they take flight, writing their dark letters about streetwires? Is that a sign? So I read about Romania. I read about history, and I also I'm going to read a few poems. I read about New York City a lot. And I'm going to read a poem. I have a love-hate relationship with New York City. I came to New York City in 1995, and here's a poem called The Greatest Musical of All Time. This city is now made of bricks, but of bodies stacked together, flesh turned to cement and asphalt skin. Even the glass is not glass, but fingernails and retinas stretched to cover the facades. And I can see bones sticking out from the scaffolding in the sides of the buildings, where the rigs are steel beams holding the structures together, and everyone's hair runs underground in wires and cables. The city embraces us with its long avenues, so we can't escape. It makes sure we'll never leave, and we love it. We love it to death, we whisper in its furry rat ear. Do you hear that? It's the tune the delivery man hums, waiting for the light to change, heard by the halal vendor who whistles it with frying rice, and the rice sizzles and whistles it too. And the song is picked up by a woman who gives out cupcake samples with little rounded mouth like choir boards. And by the waiter who harmonizes, walking with 2 glasses on a tray to the table of the 2 old ladies, and they croon chin chin in the taxi cab on the way to a show, and the taxi driver hums it too, honking and cursing, move, move, motherfucker. And the cast belts it out on all the Broadway shows, as Times Square screeches and turns its rotting stage where everyone sings and dances. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New York City. Then the lights turn out on cue at twilight when everyone rushes out and the cleaning crew walks in with jazz hands, brooms and rakes and a marching band. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the greatest musical of all time. Now I'm going to read a few poems from my latest book, Tourism. This is a collaboration with photographer Maria Hara, my good friend. She couldn't be here tonight. And what we essentially did, she took photos of regular objects or things around the city. This is very much a New York City and a city book, and it's also a series of love poems, which follows an imaginary couple through New York City and through their own relationship from the beginning, through breaking up and then finding love again. So some love poems here, some New York City poems. Love me. And here's a sink and a fork for this poem. With gusts of wind through lace curtains and white bed sheets, love me with water, endless spring rain, love me with chocolate and champagne, filled bathtubs, tunnels and pipes. Love me like fire, blindfolded in light, like a rock concert in the burning library, like a bullet train leaving the station with cellos and violins. Love me like ghosts in the old palace with hammers and swords. Love me like war, with dust, tanks, and Humvees. Crunch me between your teeth like a rose stem. Love me like a bargain, like barter. Give me your heart and I'll give you rice and a chicken for it. Love me like the sun loves the moon, and soup the spoon, and cheesy pasta hugs the fork. Love me like a breeze in your hair. Love me like your breath, like all life and all death. The space between. The space between the legs walking, the space between me and you, 2 dark buildings with white shirts hanging on the clothesline between us, 2 trees on a hill, with or without a hammock in the space between the branches full of wind, with or without a mockingbird in the space between the arms, with or without embrace in the space between breaths, the space between lips, between teeth and tongue, between skin and blade, between life and death. And this is a photo of 2 razors. Yeah. And this next poem is about languages. And it's one of those, you see these around the cities when it says, fresh paint or wet paint. Yeah. Pintura fresca. About languages. In what language does the house paint of paint? Does the wind in Chile speak Spanish to the trees? Do the gulls over the Hudson River cry Whitman's verse? And what about the Statue of Liberty? In what language does she keep silent?
Nice.
Woo! This one is called Ode to the Warrior Woman. I have a few odes. I never wrote odes before, and so these are kind of fun to write. And this is inspired by my former boss. I had a terrible boss some years ago. Ode to the Warrior Woman. beautiful woman, the world is so cruel and wild. Bring out the thunderbolts and don't be afraid of the fight. Put on your lipstick and pull up your boots. Grab your sword and slay the dragons on your way to work. Walk on knee-high blood on 7th Avenue and don't let anyone see the quiver in your heart. Be kind and smile, don't let them see that you're hurt. Sharpen your talons, merciless bird. Woman, you the man, the man's womb. You the bomb. Galaxies explode from your sex. Milky Way swirls and pours out of your breasts. Tell the little girl inside you to hush. Swing the bow on your back and spread your eagle wings. There is so much to fight for, so much to do. Put on your lipstick, girl. The world is waiting for you. This one, this is about two bikes chained together, right? We see those around. And this is a poem called We'll Always Have Summer. We'll always have potholes, dirt, and rust. At some point, my goddess wings will crumble. Your vinyl seat will tear apart. Grass and moss will grow through our missing spokes. Duct tape, flat tire, paint chip will go through sun and rain and piles of snow, thieves' hands, and pigeon shit. Around us, the city will rise and fall in screeching tides. But we'll always have the summer, and the summer after that. And this is a poem inspired by a pen and a bottle of beer in Penn Station. And it's an ode to beer. Ode to beer. Beer, the color of summer. Dust-colored beer with golden feet and foamy beard. Blue-colored beer, honest and filling, loud and gregarious and cool. Here's to you. I love you more than wine because you're cold and clear, waiting on ice on a hot day, willow without shade, willow without a lime or a beach, because wine is pretentious and water too plain, and you're humble and taste of grain, because nobody writes you odes, although you buzz, pop and fizzle and rise from east like life, because your name is simple. Because you hail from Mesopotamia where Gilgamesh drank you with Enkidu. Because you're best sipped in the haunts of the old city, on a terrace in Bucharest or Madrid with a brother or best friend. Here's to you, old God, who takes the tiredness away after a long day walking, who takes the years we've been apart away, and makes us young, laughing, happy again. And I'll close with this poem about two orange scooters. And it's called How We Escaped. We rode our orange scooters into the sunset. There were fires burning and gangs fighting on the outskirts of the city, but we zoomed by. The days were blue blurs, the nights were black. The Golden Woods didn't say anything. The Golden Woods were a bird cage with its door open and a red bird deep inside singing. Thank you
Thank you so much, Claudia. It's wonderful to wander around in your sensibility again. Too long since you've been here. And one of the great things about poets is they teach us things and remind us things that we already know. And one is that alcohol makes us understand better. Now is a chance to understand better. We'll come back in about 10 minutes.